Okay, let's get started. As I look out at one of our esteemed chairs of this committee, I'm going to get started so we can honor you all. We'll get started with the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency Board Member introduction. Do you want to introduce yourself, or would you like to?
Oh, certainly.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I'm Tammy Ward. I'm the City Council Representative in Northwest Lincoln, District Number 4, elected in May. Honored to serve. Thank you very much.
And Tim Clare, member of the University of Nebraska Board of Regents, been on the JPA since its inception. The open meetings laws are posted by the door. Item number 3 on the agenda is for the election of officers. We're going to table that until our mayor is able to be in attendance to assume the position of chair. Public comment time. Individuals from the audience are given 5 minutes to speak on specific items listed on today's agenda. Those testifying should identify themselves for the record. Are there any members in the audience that wish to make a public comment? You don't want to talk Paul?
No, I don't.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move forward. Item number 5, approval of minutes from the JPA meeting held April 25, 2019. Is there a motion to approve?
I will move to approve the minutes, and for the record, I wasn't obviously in attendance at that meeting, but without my motion to approve and to vote on them, we wouldn't have them approved for the record. So I'd like to go ahead and so move the adoption and approval of the minutes.
Okay, I'll second those. Any discussion? Anybody from the audience want to say anything? Awesome. Call the roll, please.
Claire,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Okay, item number 6, approval of the April and May payment registers and review of the April and May 2019 expenditure report. Brandon, you are up.
Okay, you have before you the April 2019 payment register. And typically how this works, I'd go over some of the major payments that are recorded on the payment register. So for operating, you had payments of $585,716. The major payments that were made out of there, we have the arena repair, maintenance, and CIP. One was for $21,248, and then another payment, $10,197. These are just for general maintenance type items that occur at the arena for food and beverage, IT, escalator maintenance type agreement. So these are ones that generally occur on a monthly basis that we reimburse them for.
In our maintenance budget, these figures are in line with what we have.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You have a second quarter payment to the City of Lincoln, and that's for the second quarter staff disbursement for $98,438.50. And then there's actually 2 payments.
Question on that.
Yeah.
We had talked, I don't know how many times about, do we have actual records, or is this a budgeted figure? I mean, is there minutes, or is there timesheets? Is there things that justify this? I think it behooves us not only from the JPA standpoint, but from the city standpoint, that the city's getting paid what they have actually worked and earned. And at the same time, we have a duty, a fiduciary duty, with respect to the JPA. And rather than, how did we come to this figure? I assume it's a budgeted figure, but I want to see some justification for that.
Yeah, okay. So typically during the lead up to the budget, we go through and we look at the staff time allocation. I think the attorney's office generally tracks time. You know, the way purchasing has been split out is an agreement, I think, in JPA, the county, and the city for how they split that up based off of, you know, operating budgets essentially. So what type of purchases are being made. You know, and then there's staff time for my time, one of the mayor's aides, treasurer's office, so and then in addition accounting staff time. So we generally have an understanding of how much time is allocated to the JPA. And then as we go through the budget process, we review that and propose that to the board. So we took a pretty extensive look this past budget process of how much staff time. I think that the purchasing allocation from finance dropped considerably with us reviewing that.
Can we see those figures sometime?
Yeah, we can get that to the board. You have two payments this month to DEC, $216,828 and $216,301. Those are, like I said, usually we have 1 month. I think it just fell within that we had 2-month payment this time. About 67% of that's then billed back out to customers of the JPA, and those include private entities and the arena as well. All the projects, all the payments in here are within the budgeted statements that you have within your packet as well. In addition, in your packet, you have a statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for the West Haymarket. Total revenues, $17.8 million. Expenditures of $15.8 million, for a over-under of $2 million, but then we had some sell of assets. So through April, we had a surplus of about $3.9 million for an ending balance of $43.3 million. In addition, there's a income statement from the Pinnacle Bank Arena within your packet. Total revenues through March 31st, 2019 of $3,597,000 compared to expenditures of $3,151,000 for a net income of $446,000, which leaves them with a retained earnings balance through March 31st of $670,000 or $671,000. Occupation taxes through March 31st were up 1.98%. When we looked at the original projections of what would occur from the original projections, those are up about 25%. So basically we're corresponding with about the year 2030 of where we thought we would originally be. So that's an overview of the April 2019 statement.
When you say the operating budget increased at 1.98%.
For the occupation taxes, yeah.
Is that compounded, or is that 1.98% of what?
It's 1.98% over the prior year. So from a board perspective, we always budget a 2% increase in occupation taxes. So we've been pretty fortunate that, those have been exceeded, which is why right now we correspond kind of with our original projection of year 2030. In the April, unless there's any questions about the April, I'll move on to the May 2019. We have arena maintenance and repair. There's 3 line items in there: 22,264, 6,150, and then 10,476. Those same types of thing. They're ongoing food and beverage maintenance type issues. And then IT type contract with 5 nines. So these are pretty standard items on a monthly basis. We have 2 parking payments to the city of Lincoln for management of the JPA parking garages. There's one $62,779, $31,822, and then $39,747. And then the second month is closer to the bottom of the payment register of $106,507, $58,835, and then $66,368. So those are, and then you have, in addition, the DEC payment of $202,858, which then, same thing, we bill back out to customers about 67% of that bill. So total operating expenditures for the month of May of $621,105. All those are in addition included within the operating expenditure report that you have before you. Through May, you have the statement of revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balances. So total revenues, 21.9 million, expenditures 24.5, for a deficit of 2.6 million, and then add in the sale of assets of 1.9 million for a deficit of 727,000 through May 31st, 2019. That brings the fund balance to 38.6 million. Just a reminder, in May we made our debt service payment for the year. So, as we go through the year, there's fluctuations in surpluses and deficits. From here on out, we should be building funds so that we end the year with a surplus.
When will the first payment, first major payment, is it 2021?
It's 2021. Will be, I think, in December of 2021 will be the first major principal payments. And then the next year, in addition, there'll be another step up. So we go from, I think, about 17 million up to like 21 million, and then from 21 up to 24 million. But that's what, the growth that's what is structured so that the growth in the occupation taxes will catch up kind of to those principal payments.
You're still comfortable with the way we're positioned?
Yes.
We'll have plenty of money to be able to pay the principal on these bonds.
Yes. You have the Pinnacle Bank income statement. Total revenues through April 30th of 3.9 million compared to expenditures of 3.6 million, for a net income of 381,000. So but at the end of April 30th, they had retained earnings of $605,000. Through May 31st, the occupation taxes were up 2.28%, and then which is above our original projections of 25% above where we originally thought we would be, corresponding with the year 2030.
Okay.
That's all I have for an overview of the financials for May and April.
Okay. Any questions? Questions from the audience? Anyone have any questions? Okay, so we need to approve
Recommending approval of the payment register.
Yeah.
Motion?
Yes.
So moved.
Second. Further discussion? Seeing none. Call the roll, please.
Claire,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Okay, item number 7. WH 1916, resolution approving change order number 2 to the contract agreement between the JPA and Dickey Hines Muir. Is that right?
That's correct.
For the pedestrian bridge pigeon proofing.
Caleb
Caleb,
Swanson
you're on.
with PC Sports. The item before you today is to address some additional areas underneath of the elevated plaza on the northeast side of Pinnacle Bank Arena. Just a little bit of quick history. This board approved a contract with Dickey Hines Muir late last fall to address some areas underneath that deck and the first span of the pedestrian bridge where a lot of pigeons had been taking up roosting. That original contract was for about $77,000 and was completed late last year. At that point in time, we saw that a lot of the pigeon issues were greatly improved. They were starting to move to a couple other areas. So throughout the course of this spring, we kind of watched to see, okay, where are they going? Where have they moved to? And we kind of walked the area several times with members of the SMG arena staff to kind of find out where those pigeons were moving to, because there's lots of areas where you could spend dollars to try and pigeon-proof things. And it would be really easy to get carried away with that. So we kind of wanted to see where have they gone and where does it make sense to add some additional pigeon proofing. And when we talk about pigeon proofing, it's typically metal plates, metal brackets, things like that to kind of add smooth angled surfaces to areas which otherwise might be a ledge where a pigeon might roost. So This is a little over $8,000 in additional areas where we've seen them for sure take up residents to get them out of there. And Dickey Hines and Muir is ready to go. They would have this up likely before the start of football season. So we are recommending approval of this contract. I'll take any questions you might have.
Do you think this will, obviously it's hard to predict that this would eliminate it, but this is really an important thing because we see some pigeon proofing going on that eliminates part of the problem, but then the problem continues as it relates to different areas. So
Right.
this is going to, in effect, plug that
Right, and
gap.
that's kind of what we've been doing the past couple of months is to say, okay, we've driven them out of most of the areas where they were. They've moved to what I'll call more difficult areas for them to live in, but that's just what's left available to them. We could spend a lot more than this and say, here's every possible place we could possibly dream they might go, but we don't feel that that's really an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars. So we've kind of seen, okay, here's where they've kind of settled. These are the areas. You're continuing to reduce the areas where they're able to go. So this should drive them out of everywhere where they're at now. Like you said, could one or two become a little bit more creative and find a new spot? Maybe, but it should be an even further reduction. Like you saw, the original contract was $77,000. We're now down to $8,000. So it should get rid of a majority of what is left. Yes.
Fantastic. Do you have any questions?
No, had been briefed by law, so aware of the pigeon situation. Thank you.
Okay. Any public comment? Nobody wants to talk about the pigeons. All right. I call the roll.
Claire?
Yes.
You need a motion?
There's no motion. Right, you got to move. sorry.
Okay. I will move to accept the resolution number WH 1916. So moved.
Second. Now is there any comment? Seeing none. Call the roll, please. Sorry about that.
Claire?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Okay. Now we get to the fun part. Resolution number 1917, resolution recognizing the current and former members of the West Haymarket JPA Board of Representatives for their outstanding work in the creation and development of the West Haymarket area. Chris, are you going to present?
Chris Connolly, Chief Assistant City Attorney. Yes, one of the board members, Mr. Clare, as chair, you certainly had an excellent idea of wanting to express some honor and gratitude towards the former members of the board who have done a lot of hard work, made a lot of hard decisions on how to move the JPA forward. And so we felt that between this resolution and some of the other things that we're going to have after the meeting today, that this was an appropriate time to bring some of the former members together, and we do have some of them here today. And so we would like to go ahead and have this resolution adopted. I'll leave it to you, Mr. Chair. I think it may be appropriate for the chair to read this on the record as the members are here. In fact, it may be appropriate to have the members come forward
Sure.
as it's being read. So we have former Mayor Chris Beitler and former member Jean Carroll, and I do not see Mr. Eskridge was the other one that was going to be here. But I would invite these gentlemen to come forward.
And before, well, you're coming up, I want to just make a comment that there really was some excellent work, and it's always been a great privilege to serve on this board. And the thing that I think about when I look out and I see Paula back, and it was so awesome to work with you and your team. But it reminded me of the story where here comes Carl. But it reminded me of the story when John F. Kennedy made the statement that we're going to put a man on the moon, and he traveled down to NASA to see the department down there, where they were going to construct the spaceships and kind of, build them up and pump them up for the opportunity and the experience of sending somebody to the moon. And as he was walking in the building, he comes across the janitor, and he says to the janitor, "Well, what do you do here?" And he says, "Well, I'm going to put a man on the moon." Everybody there worked for a common good, and the common good was to put somebody up on the moon. And I look at the people that were involved with this project, and egos were put aside. Ego is a terrible thing. It was put aside, and everybody worked for the common good. And the common good was we were going to build this arena, and we were going to build out the area. And I just appreciate what this committee, everybody that helped out with it, because nobody could have done it by themselves, and everybody coming together made this happen. And so I thank all of you for that. And we may not have put a man on the moon, but we certainly built something that's going to benefit the city of Lincoln and the county of Lancaster County for a long, long time. And I appreciate what y'all did. Did you want to say anything?
Just amen to that. And thank you all for your leadership. I watched from afar. I was working for Senator Ben Nelson at the time across the street in the Haymarket. So thank you for your leadership. And thank you for being here again today. Thank you, Tim.
I'm glad you could finally make it, Carl.
The cake is great.
You got something in your court? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, the resolution says, whereas the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency was formed in 2010 for the purpose of creating a new and exciting environment in downtown Lincoln, generally known as the West Haymarket area, that includes but is not limited to a first-class sports facility, an entertainment facility now known as Pinnacle Bank Arena. And whereas the original 3 members of the JPA Board of Representatives were Regent Tim Clare, Mayor Chris Beitler, and City Council Member Jane Snyder. And whereas with the unfortunate and untimely passing of Jane Snyder in 2011, City Council Member Gene Carroll was appointed to the JPA Board of Representatives. And whereas when Gene Carroll left office in 2013, City Council Member Doug Emery was appointed to the JPA Board of Representatives. And whereas when Doug Emery left office in 2015, City Council Member Carl Eskridge was appointed to the JPA Board of Representatives. And whereas with Carl Eskridge leaving office in 2019, City Council Member Tammy Ward has been appointed to the JPA Board of Representatives. And whereas with Mayor Chris Beitler having left office in 2019, Mayor Larry and Gaylord Baird being sworn in as the next mayor of Lincoln, and Tim Clare remaining as the member of the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska for District 1, the new JPA Board Representatives will consist of Regent Tim Clare, Mayor Larry and Gaylord Baird, and City Council Member Tammy Ward. And whereas the new JPA Board of Representatives wishes to express its sincere and empathetic gratitude to Chris Beitler, Jane Snyder in memoriam, Gene Carroll, Doug Emery, and Carl Eskridge for their service to the JPA. Be it resolved by the West Haymarket Joint Public Agency Board of Representatives that it hereby acknowledges and extends its profound appreciation and thanks for the hard work, diligence, and dedicated service contributed by Chris Beitler, Jane Snyder, Gene Carroll, Doug Emery, and Carl Eskridge to the community of Lincoln, Nebraska. The distinguished achievements of the JPA from 2010 to the present are the direct result of the wisdom, foresight, and courage of current and former members of the JPA Board of Representatives in pursuing a common vision for the creation and development of the West Haymarket area, a very special part of the city of Lincoln that will be enjoyed by its residents and visitors for decades to come. Adopted this 27th day of June 2019. Congratulations. Now, oh yeah, we have to have a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second. Now we have to open it up for discussion. Any discussion? Seeing none, would you call the roll, please?
Claire,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
Okay, now we are going to go away from the agenda for a minute to make a special presentation. Oh,
I see public comment is on the agenda.
yes.
Do you plan to have that?
Oh, yeah, we can have it right now.
Okay. I may speak.
Yes, you may.
Jane Kinsey with Watchdogs of Lincoln Government. We have respect for the people who have put forth effort to make this a successful event, obligation, whatever you want to call it. But we have great reservations about whether the taxpayers' money was spent wisely. And we also believe that an outside audit should be conducted so that the good old boy system does not approve what has happened. In the taxpayers' best interest, it is always good for transparency, and I would think that if this board wanted to have transparency, they would have no problem with an outside audit. So therefore, we are interested in pursuing that, and hopefully it will come to fruition. But we would like to have an invitation for that to occur anyway, without having to go forward with our possibilities or efforts. So I guess we will agree with the resolution, but we have reservations. People have put forth effort, but we're not sure that the taxpayers and the public have been considered in all of the situation.
Thank you very much, Jane, and I apologize for not giving enough time to make public comment before we moved on. Okay, we're going to slight detour from the agenda. Paula is going to make a presentation. I want to thank Paula for her great work and leadership in this project. If the former members could come forward.
Sure, Paul, why not?
It never stopped you before.
Thank you very much.
And we're taking a picture? Yes. All right. Then I think Jean can say something if you'd like.
Quickly, thank you for the beautiful photo. I love that photo. Lincoln in progress, which is great. I would just say, because of our leader here, we built an exceptional thing for the state of Lincoln. It's coming from out of state and coming back and looking, it's just an amazing thing that this was built, and it's a good thing for the city and the state of Nebraska, and I'm very proud to be part of it when it was started. And thank you for the award or the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Carl?
What's the movie where the guy gets stuck on Mars? You're like that guy. Okay.
That guy? Thanks.
You were here, Tim, from the beginning, and continue on. We've gone in second mayor now, and how many different council members, but you've been that glue that's helped to bring it all together, and certainly with the university, a very important partner in this project. It wouldn't have happened without the university's involvement. So thank you for your role. And to Tammy, running District 4, and just so glad that you're a part of this because it is such an important part of our downtown community. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for your service and your kind words, too.
Mayor.
All right. It's really great to see Paula again. She was always so tight-fisted when she was here. Are you,
different side of her.
taking this back at a certain point in time, or is it forever?
She's going to charge you.
I just want, I end up never saying thank you enough to people. And so today I want to start with thank yous. And first of all to you, Tim, for the long history of our relationship. Most of you know that we cannot speak officially to one another. Now I'm going to raise hell with you, buddy. Not really. It really was amazing considering the scale of everything that we were talking about and the overwhelming concerns of a large number of people as to how major parts of this thing were going to work. It was truly amazing what a good feeling there was throughout the years, from my perspective, moving forward with all these diverse interests. And your personality has a lot to do with that, and I thank you for that.
Thank you.
I also want to thank the staff. There's too many to thank altogether, but overwhelmingly, not just with JPA work, but all the city work, it's the staff that makes it happen right and gives the good advice. And I want to thank everybody involved from the staff for their part in this. Not only the city staff, but the city staff works with SMG, of course. Tom's here today. It's been a great relationship in that regard, too. I think you would agree, Tim. Mm-hmm. And I just hope all this can continue and finish out and play out with the incredible success that it's had these first few years. So with that, Regent Claire, I leave you with the pigeons and the future.
I'll take the future. The pigeons.
I will say something. I didn't know I was going to be part of the presentation today, but I am so honored. And all I want to say is thank you to all of you for being such a big part of my career, my life, and Lincoln and this project have always had a soft, dear spot in my heart, and it's because of all you guys for being special and being you. So thank you.
Ask her what projects she's been promoted to, Regent Claire.
What projects have you been promoted to?
I'm working on the Rams Chargers Stadium and a few others around the country, so just a small one. So thank you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could for just a second, we have not forgotten the other board members that were on the board. We do have a picture for Doug Emery, who is currently over in Belarus doing his boxing supervising function, whatever it is he normally does. And nor have we forgotten Jane Snyder. And we did try and find out if she has family. She does not have family. She may have a friend here. I'm not sure if.
Libby may be at the reception.
Okay. But there wasn't any place to send a picture, so we didn't prepare one for her, but we certainly remember her in our hearts and in our minds, and she certainly was a key part in all the activities of the board as well. So she certainly is not going to be forgotten. But I just wanted to make that known. And as a staff member, I wanted to thank the board members again for all their leadership over the years and getting this work done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, last item for today. Set the next meeting of the Joint Public Agency. The next meeting will be Thursday, July 25 at 2:30. Dennis' favorite time, right? 2:30. Get it? In the County City Building, Council Chambers, first floor. Is there a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second. Call the roll.
Claire,
Yes.
Ward,
Yes.
We are adjourned.